Hey guys, I have several videos for you guys today, mainly because I've done a couple videos in the past couple of weeks that I forgot to upload, and now that it was mostly updates, and I just forgot to upload them, so that information is no longer relevant. But anyway, the first video that I have for you guys today is a book movie review of If I Stay by Gail Foran, because I just got back from the film and cried a lot. But yeah, okay. So I read this last week. I finished it in 2 days. It was beautiful and just fantastic, and I really like her writing. And I gave this, I think, a 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars. I want to go 4.5 because, like, it wasn't 100% 5 stars, but it was definitely more than 4. And I can't even, this book was so amazing. This book has been all over BookTube, so I'm pretty sure most of you know what this is about, but if you don't, it is about a girl who gets in a car accident with her family, and all of the rest of her family dies, and she's in a coma in the hospital, and she basically has to make the decision of whether or not to live and continue being with other people who love her, like her best friend and her boyfriend and her grandparents, or whether to die with her parents and her little brother. And how she has this decision is somehow her spirit, her consciousness is out of her body when she gets in this accident, and so she's kind of literally having an out-of-body experience while she is in the coma, and so she's experiencing everything from an outsider's point of view. She sees everybody visiting her when she's in the hospital. I believe that's how she also finds out that the rest of her family is gone, is she hears the nurse telling the doctor what happened and stuff like that. And I don't feel like any of that is really spoilery because I'm pretty sure you find out very quickly that her family dies, so yeah. But this was great. I really loved the characters. I really liked Mia's character. I loved Adam's character so much. So much. And I also really liked the different relationships. I thought it was very interesting how Mia felt like she was not really a part of her family. Oh, okay, I should say that this is probably getting into spoiler territory at this point. But yeah, I liked how she kind of felt like she was sort of outside of her family because she and her brother do not look alike, and her parents were rockers when they were younger, and she plays the cello and she's in love with classical music, so she feels like that makes her kind of still a little bit part of her family, but sort of the outsider in the family. And I can definitely relate to that. I feel like that a lot in my family, so yeah, I thought that was very interesting. And one of my favorite relationships in the whole book was Mia and her little brother Teddy, because at one point she's talking about how she actually saw Teddy being born. She was in the room with her mother when he was born, and he was the first, or she was the first person that he saw. So for a long time he actually thought that Mia was his mom, because I mean she was only like 10, when he was born, but hers was the first face he saw, so, and so they've always kind of had that, relationship where she's, like, I mean, obviously his parents take care of him, but they've just had, like, a really deep connection ever since he was born, and I just thought that that was excellent. I thought that was great. I love the musical references in this book. They are so awesome. Specifically, I love Mia talking about all the classical composers and musicians, because I'm a huge fan of classical as well. I mean, obviously not as much as someone who is a classical musician, but I really like classical music, so that was fun. One thing that I thought was weird about this book is there are a couple words that seem very outdated in the book, and it was only written in 2009, so I was very confused by that. I don't know if the words were specifically used to make a point. Like at one point, one of them says the word retarded, and they mean it to mean like stupid rather than a mentally retarded person, and that kind of bothered me, because I felt like in this day and age, like, why would you, I mean, I guess it's like high school kids do talk like that sometimes, but it just kind of threw me for a loop. But again, this was 5 years ago, so maybe 5 years ago, it was still not considered politically incorrect to use that word. I don't know, in that way. And then another thing is, this kid, Peter, when they're at camp, when Mia's at music camp, says that this other kid is queer rather than gay, and I was like, wow, I haven't heard the word queer used to mean gay since my grandmother's time. Like, literally, my grandmother is the only person I know who still uses queer to mean gay, and it was because that's what it meant when she was growing up. I was like, man, I don't think that's been a thing for a while. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably the only person who feels like that, but it just seemed out of place to me in this kind of time, I guess. But it wasn't that bothersome. It was just like something that I noticed, and I was like, whoa, that's weird. But anyway, so yeah, and there are just so many parts of this that made me cry. I'm not gonna say which parts, because I want everyone who reads this to kind of experience their own emotions at their own times, because I feel like if someone tells me they feel a certain way about a certain point in a book, sometimes then I start to feel like that when I'm reading the book, which is bad, because it's like I should form my own opinion, not someone else's. But anyway, there were several points that made me cry in this, mostly when she was talking about her memories, and when she was talking about what it would be like when she actually did wake up and her parents were no longer there. Like, she started talking about the things that they would never do again, or things that they would never do for the first time, and oh, it was bad. Wow. But yes, so love this. And really quickly, the movie, I just finished the movie. I just got back from the theater, and I don't know what rating I would give the movie. It definitely was different from the book. Like, I definitely wouldn't call it the best movie adaptation. And some of the things, it was one of those things where I understood why they changed some of the stuff. Like, for example, at one point in the book, they go to a Yo-Yo Ma concert, and they probably couldn't get Yo-Yo Ma to do a cameo, so in the film, it's just, they just go to see a cellist. And what else? I don't know, it was just, there were things like that I understand, but there were other changes that they made where I was like, what is the point? I don't get it. And sometimes the things they changed, I thought, kind of completely changed the tone of the film instead of the book. Like the biggest one, and this is spoilers, so warning, for me was at the end of the book when Adam is talking to Mia, he says to her, I just want you to stay here. It doesn't matter if you don't feel like you can stay with me, if you feel like you have to leave your old life behind and you can't go back to it, I understand. Just live. And how he convinces her is through her music. He has her listening to a composition while she's still in the coma, and that's what makes her wake up. Whereas in the film, he does use the music as well, like she's still listening to the music when he's telling her that she needs to wake up and like what she needs to live for. And one thing that they added that I thought was amazing was, or two things actually, is he wrote a song for her because he said that he could never write a song about something that made him happy. It could only be stuff that made him sad. And obviously if his girlfriend is dying, that's going to make him incredibly upset. So he writes a song for her and sings it to her while she's in the coma. And then also he reads her her acceptance letter to Juilliard. I thought those two were amazing. I thought that was great. However, there is one point where he says, all that matters to me is that we're together and that you are my home. I will go wherever you go. And I thought that that was beautiful, but I thought that that kind of, it messed up the whole message of the book a little bit, in my opinion. However, I did think that the movie was great. Again, I don't really know what rating I would give it. I did think the book was better, but it's just because I usually think the book is better. I don't usually think the film is better than the book, but I really, really did like the movie, and I very highly recommend you go see the film if you enjoyed the book, or even if you don't want to read the book or you don't feel like it, go see the movie because it is so good. I cried just as much in the film as I did in the book, and the important thing about the film is that I thought that they kept most of the really, really important scenes and dialogue in there, which was great. So yeah, that was my book and movie review of If I Stay. I'm sorry for any spoiler parts. I tried to do this as spoiler-free as possible, but some parts were a little bit spoilerish, and I'm very sorry. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.